garden, so yeah, I know that one. No, I don't want to switch device. It's all fun. So that's all done now. So from what I can remember last week, what's it this? I'll have to remember on this one. Oh, you had a lot of meetings, didn't you? As per usual.
Right.
It's always the same at the start of the game. I think various people had... Oh, is it? I should get my eyes tested, my eyes are going. I think you spent most of the time... I think Billy and and James had a letter saying to go to a club called the Factum Illuminatum Lundaris to talk to a Mr. James Dunbar about a possible job.
Right.
If I remember rightly, of which you did your various ways of getting into the club, and you were basically told what you needed to do was to help some other vampires in a trip.
Yeah.
That's it. And you were told to come back in a few days, so as you did. If I remember rightly, you sort of walked up before time, got led into the club, and did your usual thing. Then alright, so Mr. Marcus had an interesting meeting in a local gardens with a gentleman, in which he said
he wanted me to spy on our host, didn't he?
He did indeed, and I believe all of you were there just in case things got a bit pear-shaped with the escape vehicle. With an escape vehicle waiting on the edge of there. I'm quite disappointed that no one actually shot at you as it killed you or did anything else. You get a call. I don't think a lot happened in that night. Day 1, you had a meeting with, I think, Mikhail again, who went through basically the introduction to the club, and that you could use the club for your own, and they'll get people for you, and not to go wandering around in the city too much, if I remember rightly. Yep, that was the meeting with the gentleman. You had a generally a quiet evening, doing nothing except discussing things. You had you also got introduced. James and Co got introduced to yourselves, and told that James and Billy were there to help you in your escapade in Montreal, and had been specially selected by Mikhail. I think Sabrina had some visions, which included the run through the wood, the dark figure with the crucifix, and there was another one which I've forgotten, and the last thing was Mikhail saying that tomorrow you may be moved to the countryside because things are getting a little hot in the city, and that's where we left it. I don't think there was much more than that went on. Other than
I think we were thinking of going to Paris as well.
That's right, and you'd figured out a number of things, which included, if I remember rightly, you suspect that there was no one at the airport. And you had a few interesting conversations with James Dunbar, where he hinted at that he wasn't quite under the control of a certain vampire. Kept dropping subtle hints every few while, if I remember rightly. Yeah. Right, so we will start. So sorry about that, guys, but this time it's all being recorded, so hopefully, and I'll take notes, but I'm in a better mood than last time, so I should be a bit more with it. If this fails, it fails, but hey. Right, so it's the end of the evening. You all go. Ah, yes. You did talk about Mikhail about going to Paris, and he said it might not be a bad idea, if I remember rightly. Well, I've noticed a note there. So you all go to sleep. You all lose a blood point. You all gain a willpower if you've used any. Right. And you've gone back to rooms. It's the same usual process. Do you lock all your doors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, now.
Of course.
Okay. Right, I've got these in the wrong order, I think. No, I haven't. Right. Okay, so your evening goes without... Oh, sorry. Your day goes without any events. You get no visions. You wake up to your rooms are empty. You do not get unwanted visitors. If I remember rightly, was it Odie and Ivan have a nasty habit of appearing in Sabrina's room, even if it's locked.
I mean, locks aren't really a thing for them, let's be honest.
Oh yes, they seem to be very apt at doing this. You wake up, Sabrina, and you wander around and you notice there is a letter pushed underneath your door. Right, let me just... where is it? Ah, there it is. Right. Yes, I've also forgot to change this version of... was it Discord? This has got the wrong version on there. Discovered there's two versions on the Linux. There's one that calls the shelf version.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, which doesn't have the same features as the full version. Right, okay. You find that under the door, white plain envelope, and you've got it. So it's up to you if you want to show that the rest of them. The rest of you wake up, you'll find there's nothing unusual in the room. As you wander around in the morning, and same with as Sabrina's reading a letter, you get a knock on the door. All of you. And your various rooms. Are you going to answer them?
Oh yeah, that's
course.
super.
Through in my pocket first.
Yeah. You all find servants standing outside who sort of politely cough and almost in unison say, "Sir or Madam, Mr. Dunbar would like to see you in the library, please. When you're ready." And they sort of nod their heads and wander off.
I'll shut the door after them.
Mm-hmm.
The note that I've been left, does it look like Odie and Ivan's handwriting?
It does, including the bad spelling.
Yeah, I did wonder if that was deliberate.
No, that's a
I'll
mistake.
show the note to everybody else.
Now that's me being a little, but I thought, I saw it, I thought, do I correct it? No, because it does fit remarkably well with what they would do. After all, English is not their first language. And that's the letter that got left. Yeah, I like it. There'll be Beck just after midnight. Yep. So, is anybody going to do anything special before their meeting?
I'd like to do a little bit of feeding.
So you're going to leave quickly.
Yeah.
Right. How long you take to feed?
I'll only do a couple of hours, so it's only. I just want to. Basically, I want to get like about one or two.
You'll miss. You will miss most of the meeting.
In which case, I'll stay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Because.
realise the meeting was quite so early.
Oh yes, they said when you're ready, basically. Yeah. Then you can go and feed. No. Yeah. Oh, of course. I just also remember they also took the statue back from you, didn't they? The weird statue.
The weird statue, not yet.
Yes. Yep. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was James Dunbar, who seemed to know you've taken it.
I'll wait to the library then.
If you,
Alright.
Yeah.
if you find a servant, they will guide you to the. They will point you in the direction of the library.
All right.
Right, let me get that out. Are you going all at once, or are you going bit by bit, or?
I guess if we gathered to
Look at the
view
letter.
the note together, then
Yeah.
probably all together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You go wander down to the library, and who goes in first?
Oh, I will.
Yeah. You go in and there's a big... No, sorry. You go in and you see the library. You see Mr. Dunbar, was it sort of warming himself in front of a fire, but it's still fairly early in the year. And if you remember rightly, he's mortal. So unlike yourselves, he feels the cold. And if you remember rightly, he's the bald gentleman. And he sort of looks at you and goes, ladies and gentlemen, please do come in and shut the door afterwards, if you please.
I strategically take, the seat farthest away from the fire.
Yes. Yes, you, as you will all be uncomfortable that close to a fire. You will notice most of the conversation, James Dunbar or Mr. James will stay near the fire. He will not move away as per se. Considering he has so he sort of says, and how is everybody this evening? I do hope I find you well.
Yeah, fine.
Just fine.
That's good to good to hear.
I'm dandy.
What did you want to talk to us about?
Now, indeed. So, firstly, I have some good news for you. I have persuaded Mikhail that moving you out of the city would be a bad thing. So he has decided to delay it for a couple of days. So you are free to stay here for the meanwhile, and if you must go out, please do it discreetly without attracting too much attention to yourselves. Now, I come to the real reason why I summoned you here tonight, and to make sure Mikhail is not going to disturb us. I have arranged a little distraction for him to keep him busy tonight. So, how much do you know? How much have you figured out what is happening here? And he sort of looks at you.
Well, the fact that you're distracting Mikhail says a lot right there.
Well, to be fair, it's not me. It's someone else is doing the distraction on my behalf. I cannot take all credit for that.
It's the on your behalf part that's important, though.
Indeed so. And what about the rest of you? You have nothing to say?
It's arrived, so very little.
At the moment, I'm still kind of in shock with this city, considering people that I've met recently within our room. Not within here, but within the city itself. There have been some.
Yes. So you have not suspected anything then?
for example.
I find this whole situation suspicious.
And so you should. And what about Mikhail? How much do you trust him? And he smiles
As
at
far
this.
as I can throw him.
That to be farther than myself, and he smiles. He
He certainly has an ulterior motive somewhere.
certainly does.
I think we're being used as pawns,
Indeed so.
but I don't know
Why
what the scheme
he-
is. I don't know what the scheme is yet.
On that one I do.
Do you?
Oh, I do. And he smiles. Mikhail,
Might be.
Mikhail is playing with you as a game to pass his time, which in the end will be deadly for you. And you'll not be surprised that Theodore himself is part of the game. Now I suspect...
Are they in league with each other?
I will come to that. I now now suspect you're wondering why I'm telling you all this. I'd be surprised if you weren't.
Yeah. It
Well.
does sort of beg that question.
And I will tell you. I have a reason I would like Mikhail and Theodore gone from this club, so I have more freedom to run this club as I want, or to be more exact, as others want. Or to be more exact, as I said, my true masters would like the two vampires gone, as they are turning out to be liabilities. So my masters have a little proposal for you, which will involve you playing both Mikhail and Theodore's game and turning it on them at the appropriate moment. For this, my masters will grant you a number of favours, and may even give you direct help in the future, though they only have limited resources. They may even give you, monetary remuneration if you need it. So, I have to ask on behalf of our masters, are you interested? Especially
Interested, yes.
Oh yes, I would like to point out that Billy and I think it is James were employed by myself, not Theodore. Mikhail wanted some more, what he called it, idiots. Gullible. Vampires, neolites, yeah, I think he called them. Oh, you're not surprised he has a very low opinion of you?
No, not particularly.
No. So, you are interested?
Interested,
Who are
yes.
your masters?
How do I put this? You would not want to meet them. Nor their earthly representative.
Earthly.
So not earthly representative.
As in, they live here. Not somewhere else. It's difficult to explain to someone who doesn't understand. But
Right.
even
Look in this room. Are there any paintings, statues, symbols, or anything significant of that kind?
no. It looks perfectly normal, and there are books that look normal. You would think this is more of a public area. It's difficult, it's difficult for me to understand. All I have been told is they're not of this place from outside. That's the way it was actually described to me.
being kind of like this sort of plane or existence.
Whatever you want to call it.
Are they spirits then, are they?
I don't know. That might describe them. As I said, I've never actually seen them. I only see and only been told by their earthly representative. Who will remain nameless?
That.
Who will remain nameless? As I said, it's one of those things it's better that you don't know. If you understand me.
So what's the deal then?
As I said, if you can get rid of the troublesome Theodore and Mikhail, even remove them from this place, they will reward you, either in favour, in kind, or monetary if you need it.
Can we have some time to think about it?
You have all the time you need.
I mean, we're going to try and get rid of Theodore anyway by ourselves, so...
That is good to hear.
Mikhail, I don't really have any beef with at the moment. What proof do you have that he's working in league with Theodore?
They have both been here. They have both...
That's not proof, is it?
Are they members?
Associate members. They both have, how do you say, used this place as a... What do you call it? A haven while in London?
Yeah.
So they both have associated. And they have been
Many of our kind can share the same haven and not be in league with each other.
Oh, yeah, I will say is they're almost as thick as thieves when they're here. It is up to you if you think they are. You can take my word or not to take my word. It matters not in the end. Because if you get rid of both of them, that's all that matters to myself and my masters.
You know what Mikhail is, do we?
Mikhail, if I remember, Mikhail was the person for the James. Mikhail was the friend in Berlin. For those who came from Berlin, and he was
on the plane, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he is the guy that employed. Was it? Yeah. What was it? Well, supposedly employed. Was it? I've forgotten their names. James and Billy. He's the one that did it. So, yes. Oh, there is another thing I would like to confirm with you. The ruse about the airport. There was no one waiting for you. I thought you had. And are you? If you're still thinking of going on to Montreal, I have found a gentleman of your kind who will help you, give you all the knowledge you need to survive Montreal. He's a, how you say, a Sabbat who is not exactly enamoured with his own kind.
That's interesting.
It is. At some point, was it? Tonight? I will make sure he comes here, and you can have a meeting with him.
Is he in London?
Oh, he's in London.
Okay.
He is here. Well,
So what's this plan that Mikhail has had for us then, do you know?
all I know was to take you to Montreal and how you say drop you in it. From what I gathered, they are going to give you the runaround.
Why?
Because they get bored. They're not exactly, contrary to what they look like, very nice people. Or in your case, vampires. They have an extremely dark side, even for your kind. They consort with things. That's all I'll say. They'll consort with things which are, again, how do I put it? Very close to the occult.
How is that different than your masters and yourself?
They're certainly not of that sort. They wouldn't go by... They have nothing to do with the occult per se. Not the one that's on as practiced on Earth and by your ex-fellow humans. Anyway, once you have made your decisions, ladies and gentlemen, just find me or talk to one of the servants and they'll find me for there. You are free, as I said, free to stay here as long as you need. And you are free to leave, come and go, but as I said, the only thing you have to do is be discreet. And that's all I ask of you.
We'll certainly try.
And that is all I can ask. I will leave you to your discussions, ladies and gentlemen. You know where to find me, and I would stay around, as later tonight I will get the gentleman in question for you, and you can have a little word with him. So I wish you a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. And he walks out. And you're left there by yourself. That got you quiet.
What have you got me into?
Me?
Not you. You're in the same boat as I am. I'm looking at our companions that we're being hired to help. What have you got us into?
I wish we knew.
Wish we knew. I think we're being played from all sides at the moment.
That's what it sounds like to me.
They are mere pawns, everybody's games.
Shall we go and get some breakfast and discuss it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Those of you who want to go hunting can certainly do so. And you
want
can...
to make sure that
Yep.
you're being followed.
You assume you would be, yes.
Where shall we meet?
Well, we could just get a taxi and then, I don't know, walk for a bit and then get another taxi and...
Walk for a bit more and get another taxi.
Yeah, exactly. And go on the underground and, yeah.
Well, it's best if we split up. Cambell and I can travel a little more freely because we're not
Exactly.
under scrutiny yet.
Okay.
And the only proviso is you've got to be back by midnight.
Okay.
Because that's when certain two people will appear. Was it
Two people, can say.
Well, what time is it now?
it's fairly early in the evening, so it'd be March, be 9, half 9. So yeah, you've got a couple of hours before midnight if you want to wander around.
We could meet in a pub somewhere,
Yeah, okay.
or does anyone know anywhere? Does anyone know London? I don't.
Not particularly well, no.
If you haven't go on.
I've lived here a while. Yeah, I'll name a place that seems suitable.
Yeah, there's enough pubs. There's more than enough pubs in London where you can meet,
Sure.
even in Soho, even in Mayfair. They usually tend to be the more expensive ones.
Didn't your friends your letter say stay put for tonight? Don't go out.
They did say that, so we should choose someplace very discreet.
You've walked
Yeah,
out.
if there's some.
Yeah, I would trust what Odie and Ivan say a lot more over whomever these people are.
They're saying stay put, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. One who has to go hunting, if I remember rightly.
I wanted to go hunting.
I'll-
It's not have to, I want to.
Yeah. It depends. If you're starting getting down to around 3 blood points, then it starts to become an imperative. Above that,
I'm barely down any. My character just doesn't like. He constantly feels hungry, so therefore he helps with his feet.
well,
I mean, this is a club that's used to vampires. We could just order in.
I have very strict tastes on my vitae.
Okay.
I think it was fairly quiet where you were. You were in the middle of Mayfair, which, as I remember, is in the City of London.
My only concern with having a private conversation here is that,
Private.
It's not private, yeah.
yeah,
Ooh, it keeps coming on and off. Okay.
Wasn't said he was having internet problems.
Oh, poor. Oh,
Yeah, Dylan.
Dylan's having problems again. Oh, poor Dylan. Yeah, he dropped out once, didn't he? Totally. Okay.
He did put a message saying he was having internet problems.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, I missed it. I must be fast asleep. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me have a look. Oh, he did. Yes.
Well, shall we all split up and meet? Well, we won't say the name of the place until we're outside, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Right. That answers the question. Right. I just need to. Right. So you are leaving the club. Right.
What do you think?
Just worry about the letter then, it said. Same book. I've been long enough around you to know that you're two clowns. I'm not that stupid.
No, there are a lot of things, but stupid isn't one of them.
You'll still probably have time after midnight if you wanted to hunt.
So, what is your plan? Once we've got to find a place wherever we're going to go. The question is, what is your actual
Are you going to go?
Where do you stand with all of this?
Are you going to go out of the building, or are you going? How far away? There's a.
We could just go round in a circle in a taxi.
No, because then you got the problem of someone else, the taxi person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And considering that taxis are very useful sources of information.
yeah.
Well, we could always just go to a hotel, book a room, and then just go in the room, and then just book out, sign out. Just tell them we'll have your. I assume they're your servants. Check out in the morning.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. And there's lots of hotels in Mayfair, if I remember rightly. All expensive though, but usually means they're discreet.
Do they have the cash for that?
Who's got
I
res-
can-
Yeah.
Someone has. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good smart.
Right, so
Let's go with that then. That's a good idea.
We go to Savoy then instead.
Is that Mayfair? It's nearby.
That's all.
That'd be discreet, wouldn't it?
Not when we walk in.
No. You'll find there's some fairly, how you say, well, you'll find there's a fairly small hotel nearby. I'm not going to have a look because it will just take. So you leave and go to a hotel and book a room.
Yeah, sounds good.
And go up to the room.
We check if we've been followed or not.
Yeah.
Make a
We'll split off and then meet up at the hotel.
Right.
I assume one of you guys are good at doing that sort of thing.
Would you all make a perception and alertness roll, please? And if I remember rightly, go to the role playing. It's exclamation mark number dice D10, and put an S at the end of it to sort it. I'll see if anybody's.
So you want the perception and alertness,
Yes,
yeah?
yep.
Out of curiosity, I have attentive. Does that help? As a
Yeah.
trait.
Yeah. Attentive. Yours can be easier. So
Holy.
you were.
Oh man. I blew the roof off of this. Holy.
So
I rolled pathetically.
the one. Yep, you didn't. You don't notice. Yep. Suki knows. Sabrina knows. So, and that's anybody else that's going to have a go.
On the couch.
Shall I roll for Dylan?
That's fine. I'll let it. He's probably too paranoid anyway, and he'd notice if he's being followed anyway.
That sounds about right.
Especially at the moment, because he's going to visit Montreal, he'll be overly special. Basically, when you get to the hotel, you were followed. They do look like they were. It does look like it was from the club.
Got it.
Between all of you, you'll soon figure that out because you've seen enough of them. And as
Is it just one person doing this?
it was one each, and as you
Each?
one each,
Wow.
and as you join together, you probably there's only one there. So they are watching you. To be fair, that's not surprising. And I think I'm just going to put something into. Who's he? Oh, bear with me here. I just want. Right, this is in one of the characters. This is if you want to do that. Right. My typing's just started. Because you got such a good roll, I'll give you 2. One of these days. Right, it's because you got 2 10s. That's what you see. Okay, it's up to you what you want to do with that information. Right.
Okay.
I'm just going to also put in a. Right. That's one thing you... Yep. Yeah, you get to the hotel. You know, I think by now you know you've been followed to the hotel. And you go to the room. I'll figure a name of a hotel later. I'll find one. Are you going to... How many nights are you going to pay for at the hotel? Just one night?
One.
Yeah. Okay, one night. Right. Yeah, you go into the room. Do you go all in together or all separately?
Separately.
Okay. So after about a while, half an hour all together in the room. Now it's up to you what you do. So what are you going to do?
Has anyone else followed here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was not followed.
Marcus says yes.
It's fully safe to assume that everyone's being towed. Oh, what do we think of Mr.
I saw something else, actually. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Sorry. There was someone else, not following me, but I think watching the club itself.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Did you see what they looked like?
No, they were in the shadows across the street, but they were definitely casing the place. Is that the Andrew? Is that the sense that I got was that they were maybe watching the club more generally?
You know that someone was watching the club.
Okay.
Because in the meeting where the Marcus had with a certain gentleman, it said they were watching it.
Leo. His name Leo, met in the park. Is that the one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if they were specifically watching me or us or the club in general, but they didn't follow.
Hmm. So what's the consensus on Mr. Dunbar then?
Would be nice to do his dirty work again.
Right.
What's the consensus of that one?
I don't trust the fact he's not telling us who he works for.
No.
I mean, I don't know why, but I'm getting an infernalist vibe from him, and I don't know why.
I'm probably from the fact he was standing near a fire and I'm flinching.
Yeah.
He's mortal, remember, or at least not kindred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then he's being more rude to his betters by standing near a fire while talking to kindred.
It shows a
Are
not.
you sure we're his betters?
Debatable.
Different, not better.
Different, yeah.
Perhaps, yes. No, I agree that somebody's an infernalist in here.
Yeah,
Whether it's Mikhail and this Theodore
it's not
trying to throw their own infernalist stink onto you, or if it's Dunbar, it is unclear. But I'm a little perplexed that Dunbar mentions that his masters are not of this earth somehow, and yet was very. He seemed to try to stress the point that Theodore and Mikhail were also thralls to some otherworldly powers, though different than his own.
Went to the club. One of Odie and Ivan's more interesting habits is that they occasionally like steal stuff. Don't worry, I've told them not to steal stuff off you. One of the things they picked up was a small jade ornament that was like a humanoid shape, but in a sort of melty way. And the sense that I got it from it with my abilities is that it was sort of unholy in a sort of amorphous form, flesh lump kind of way. And Mr. Dunbar was very keen to have it back. I gave it back. But that's the only clue we've got as to what he's up to.
But why is there a power struggle between them?
Possibly.
And where does this
He said it a liability to him, didn't they?
and why is this happening to prevent you wanting to leave? It's like he wants you to do this because you're after this other person, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, really, this with Mikhail and Mr. Dunbar, really don't care. It's Theodore that we care about and that we're after. Mikhail has offered to help with that. How genuine that is, I don't know.
Well, I think the safest assumption is that nobody really cares about. We're disposable to all parties in play.
Yeah.
It's whether or not we fulfill their goals.
Interesting.
I will point out that if you kill my employer, I'm not getting paid for this. While I'm working to do for you, I am being paid by him. So if he's not going to be the one that pays me, one of you's going to have to pay me.
If I remember rightly, what was actually said in that conversation about you being employed? Who actually employed you? It isn't who you think it was.
Right. It was Dunbar, not so much Mikhail, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a clue I'll give you.
My payment is still Vitae.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
So I am with you. I'm just thinking at the moment.
I mean, my point of view, our goal is just to clear my name from being infernalist. Take Theodore down in the process if we can. That's
Yeah,
the goal.
me too.
How I get to that goal, I'm not really concerned about.
Understandable.
Return back to the old life. Before I've got this all this rubbish.
I mean, we just throwing this out there, we could just not go back to the club.
But you have to.
I think we'd have to meet this Sabat guy in those Montreal though, so we need to take Theodore out.
Yes, that going into Montreal after Theodore without any kind of support would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think we should play Dunbar's game for the moment. Keep our eyes open, of course, but
We going
Still
to
seem-
agree to anything, or are we just going to stall?
What we agreed to.
what does stalling get us?
I'm just concerned about agreeing to work for an entity behind Mr. Dunbar, who we know nothing about.
At this point, was it Sabrina tends actually was it sort of stops talking and sort of zones out?
Uh-oh.
And will you just go down to your channel so we can have a quick word?
Yeah.
Let me drop my. Oh, I've lost myself. Right. As you're talking, you are surrounded by blackness, inky blackness, and you feel yourself floating in what would you classify as space.
Okay.
It's cold, it's airless, and there are no stars, but what you do see in the distance are, you know, like jellyfish. You see lights in the distance. From as you look at them, you get a feeling of cold, dark evilness, alienness, of not human, not of this earth. Totally alien.
Terrestrial, but not in an alien way.
Yeah. Every few while you see two blinking yellow eyes that sort of look at you. You feel as if it's looking deep inside you, and they close and they disappear again.
So say that again. So yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes. The sort of look.
Are they humanoid or?
No, very much like a cuttlefish.
Like a what?
Cuttlefish. As you know, the sort of shape of eye in there, and it bores into your soul, at which point you see the pub and everybody rushing towards you, and you're basically goes past you as if you're moving at high speed, and you'll find yourself sitting at the table again.
Okay, in the hotel room.
Oh yeah, sorry, in the hotel room, sorry, yeah.
That's alright.
Oh, go. Yeah, put yourself back.
Alright.
Okay. And she's back in the room.
Alright.
Do you get your book out?
Yeah, Suki gets her notepad out and starts drawing.
It's a lot of, if I remember right, it's a lot of black. Are you going to say anything, or are you going to just draw?
Yeah, she's just drawing. She's using a lot of dark pencil on this one. The page is mainly dark, and then right in the middle of it is a fish eye that's just like staring out of the page, and it's yellow, and that's it.
Fish eye.
Yep. But it's black.
I got a feeling of floating and it being like you're in space, very cold, airless, but there was no stars, and there were sort of vague lights in the distance, but the main thing was this large yellow eye that was just staring like it was trying to bore into your soul.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's red.
Yeah. But a fish.
The fish.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Now you can continue.
Are you okay there?
Oh yes, you will get used to this, it just happens.
No, you won't.
I can't control it. It's
Are you sure
I
you're
think-
not a Mocavian?
I'm sure, I'm quite sure, I'm quite sane. It's just I get a feeling of people or places or situations. Like a vision, really.
This is why I ask you, are you sure you're not a Mocavian?
I'm most definitely not a Malkavian.
I have met once.
Do I look mad to you?
Do you really honestly wish me to answer that question?
Depends if you're going to be honest or not.
If you ask the question, you will get an honest response.
Don't bother then.
Okay.
Oh dear. So, is it? How long are you going to sit to have this discussion? Are you going to go back when you're finished?
Well, let's reach a consensus. I guess. What's everybody's sense here?
I think we'll have to meet this Plat geezer later on tonight.
Yeah, it's quite a good opportunity if it's.
This is the most direct route to Theodore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If where Mikhail's games, we can at least try and keep ahead of him. And I mean, Mr. Dunbar's taken quite a risk by telling us. We can always just drop him in it with Mikhail.
Sure.
That's true. Actually, yes. Good point.
Yeah. Push comes to shove, we
Push back.
push back, point them at each other.
Yeah, I like that.
Shall we go back before we're missed?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
Sort of peel off one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We at least can give the illusion that we haven't twigged that we're being followed.
This is true.
They might put more effort in.
Right.
Mm.
Good point.
Now you know you're being followed. There's no point running. You have suspicion. If there is only one of them left, some of you haven't been followed.
We don't want them left other ones from low.
Yeah. Yeah, and you eventually get back. You all went by the back door, if I remember rightly. And
Right.
where do you go when you're in the club? Do you go to the library, back to the library, or do you go somewhere else?
Where are we expected? Is it just Odie and Ivan that we're waiting for, or are we meeting up with Dunbar again?
He said he was going to get someone for you, so it's whatever you want to do. He said no room, just to stay around.
Got it.
We'll just stay around.
Yeah. Eventually, after about 10-20 minutes, a servant finds one of you. Sir? Oh, he finds, let's see, Billy. Sir, would you find the others? Mr. Dunbar has a visitor for you. Again in the library. And he would like you to come to see the gentleman in question.
You got it. Tell him we'll be right there.
Thank you, sir. Sort of bows and wanders off.
So yeah, Billy makes the rounds.
Yep.
Goes up at each of your doors.
Okay. Now just go and find where I've got the character. Aha. Alright. Okay, that's it. Okay, so do you all go in together or bit by bit into the room?
What's it going together?
Yeah, together if there's someone we don't know.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, you walk in and there's a Mr. Dunbar. Again standing by the fire. He also has a mysterious gentleman there who has longish hair which is tied back in a ponytail. Style very reminiscent of how you say, of, was it very early Victorian times. It sort of fits him, but it doesn't. He doesn't seem comfortable in that sort of dress. He has, was it weathered skin? He has definitely a bearing of a military man. And he sort of nods as you walk in, and Mr. James Dunbar says, "Please sit." I do know this is a bit of short notice, and I also gather my servants had a little fun trying to find you, ladies and gentlemen. But you're here. This gentleman here is very knowledgeable about Montreal and the Sabbat. He can, with all possibility, give you the knowledge you need to survive. As I said, this gentleman was of the Sabbat until they had an agreement, and I will introduce him as, Colonel Bembo. Colonel Bembo, this is... Would you please introduce yourselves to Colonel Bembo, and I'll leave you, ladies and gentlemen, to get acquainted. He sort of bows out and leaves the room. And Colonel Bembo gets up. So I can't do a West Country accent or a country accent.
Okay.
It's actually a very heavy accent, as in very much like Hampshire around there. A very deep country accent. Colonel Bembo, and who do I have the pleasure? And he smiles.
Dirk Voight.
Nice to meet you.
James
Billy
Campbell.
Nice to meet you.
Billy Donovan.
Nice to meet you.
He Goldsmith.
He sort of gets hold of your hand, draws it up, and sort of kisses the back of your hand. Nice to meet you, lady. And Marcus is there and says something. If he is he there? No, he's still dropped out again. Poor guy.
No, Dylan sends his apologies. He's having trouble with his internet.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, dear. Oh well. It's just said that he's there. And he basically goes, "Now, so, how can I help you, ladies and gentlemen?"
I wish to know about Montreal.
Indeed. And why do you want to go to Montreal? If I'm permitted to ask.
Don't you know? Have you not been told?
No, all I have been told is that you need some help learning how they adapt to a Sabbat city.
That'd be ideal. Yes, some help how to adapt into a Sabbat city and survive long enough.
Oh, it will be interesting. No offence meant. You only in the Camarilla only play it, being vampires. The Sabbat are vampires, pure and simple. We don't play your Masquerade.
No offense taken there.
Myself, introduction to Sabbat is just as a foot shoulder, created purely to die. Unfortunately, I wasn't reading the same book as my my betters, and I survived longer than I expected. But still Go?
I'm sure it probably rankled a colonel to be created as cannon fodder.
Exactly so. It took me this long, and a lot of abuse to finally say no and escape to London. So I have no love for the Sabbat. So that's why I will help you. And he walks up to the fire and warms his hands. And he smiles. Oh!
Is that habit, or...?
It's what we're taught.
No, I was asking you, not him.
Sabat don't have a fear of fire.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not worried by it like you are. He just smiles. Old habits die hard. When I was in the manor house, the winters were cold. Before this invention of what you call, is it heating? So, you do know how dangerous Montreal is. And you do
Good
know...
idea.
It's a stronghold of Sabat. In so much it is the centre of the Inquisition. Which I find strange that you're going to such a place, considering the rumours I've heard.
It's
The reason why we're going.
What? That you are what they're claiming? Or no, or not?
We're not, and we have issues with the person who is spreading such rumours.
Ah. And this person would be in Montreal?
Indeed.
We assume so, yes.
We think he might live there.
So, it will take a while for me to, train you. But you have a lot to learn. You'll have to put us back
What sort of time scale are we talking?
a week, 2 weeks, depending how receptive you are. Of course, I'm not talking tonight, but whenever you want to start. And are you sure you're going to like leaving some of your civilized ways behind? And he smiles again.
I'll smile back. I'm used to much less civilized surroundings than this.
Then you might learn quickly.
I would just give him quite a blank stare, and I was like, I've already stripped myself of the trappings of humanity. This sounds like it will be a cakewalk.
I give him a sidelong glance at that.
He smiles. So, I will be available here. Just talk to Mr. Dunbar, and I will be back when you need me. I gather you have a lot to do tonight. Or so I have been told. And a lot to be discussed. The lot to discuss.
We contact you if we need to.
Via Mr. Dunbar, I'll be here, was it forthwith?
Alright.
So why are you helping us?
Because I hate the Sabat. As you said, they turned me into cannon fodder. And I was a colonel in the Royalists. A squire, not used to such deprivation that Sabat showed me. After all, we English, especially the Royals, have our standards.
You English certainly do.
And what does that mean, sir?
I imply it.
He sort of bows. See you, ladies and gentlemen. And he walks up to you again, and holds his hand out. As in,
Yeah.
you put your hand in his hand,
Yeah.
kisses it. Good night, sweet lady. I hope, our next meeting will be in slightly more pleasant surroundings. He bows and walks out.
I'm going to turn to what's his name? I will turn to Tyler, and I'll look at him and say, "What was that look for?"
Tyler.
Do you mean me, Billy?
Billy, yeah.
Yeah, that's. Nothing, man. Just stripped yourself of the trappings of humanity. It's a bit over the top.
Not really. Where I live and where I come from, humanity itself will lead to the beast being even more powerful. Sometimes you have to find alternative ways to survive. And my clan teaches me how to do that. And that is why I have loyalty to my clan. My clan above all others.
Indeed so.
All right.
Yep, so it's getting sort of that time in the evening where was it? Oh, so you meet with the Colonel. It's getting around that time and there is a knock on the door. Does anybody go and answer it?
I will go and answer it.
There are two gentlemen in suits. I think one is bald and the other one was it doing this. They just go evening and walk past you.
No. I'll stand there until he kind of gives me a reason to move out of the way.
This
You notice who? Yes, Sabrina knows who these are.
This is Odie and Ivan.
It's okay. It's Odie and Ivan. They're just not in their clown gear. They look a bit different.
A bit different?
I will step back, and after they walk past, I shall check my pockets.
They've been very good. Everything's there. He looks around. Ivor Odie looks. Well, Ivor looks around. Is there anywhere where we can talk without disturbance, or is this place safe as far as you know?
I wouldn't go as far as safe.
You mean it's as safe as anywhere else would be?
In this building, at least.
Yeah.
Okay. One goes back and shuts the door. And as our letter said, we've had a busy evening. Oh, well, a busy day and evening. And found some very interesting things. Some of which is potentially bad news for you lot. We have sort of been, how you say, sort of talking to Vampire Society here. The odd, was it, the odd ghoul here and there. The guy down the pub. And we have a lot to relate to you about what's really going on in the city as far as we can tell. Especially with you, Mr. Voight, Mr. Neuveu, and our mistress. I assume you would like to hear it. Find out what we found.
Got a feeling it's going to be bad news, but yes, go on then.
So they find some seats, turn the seats around, as you know, like detectives do, and sit them on backwards. Or actually, at the start, Odie sits on it the right way with his back to you, then turns round and smiles. Well, here we go. We'll start with the ruse at the airport. We discovered from our sources there was no one waiting for you. How you say, it was a little game played by, was it Mr. Dunbar, it seems.
Mr. Dunbar or Mikhail?
It could be both, but whoever, they sort of cocked the story up. There was no one there. Never was, and the prince was never sent anybody. Theodore has been very clever about spreading the rumours about you guys being infernalists. He's actually told the harpies of both in London and in Paris.
Oh, God.
Indeed. So you can imagine that story now is spreading like a wildfire. And you can imagine that could potentially cause you some grief. Harpies, after all, can determine where you're the pecking order, as you know. Well, for those of you who are full members of the Cambell, for the Ravnos, they just think you're scum already. So we're quite used to it. And I think Sabrina will be. The current Prince of London is a Queen Anne. She's sort of half interested in rumours. As long as it stays like that, it will be safe for you. And as long as she doesn't take too much heed to what the harpies say. From what we gathered, she is a very strict prince. And I mean strict. Anybody who stands against her, she is quick, or poses a threat, she is quick to, punish. Both other things, Theodore is based in Paris, but he constantly travels between cities. This is the first time he's actually gone to the New World. From what we gathered, he travels around Europe, always ahead, always leaving trouble where he leaves. Very rarely somewhere twice. Or if he is, he's very clever. And strangely, a lot of the people that we met in concernings, was it Theodore? They're not surprised he went to a Sabbat city. They've always had, some question about his loyalty to the Sabbat, to the Cambell. There have always been some questions about which side he is. Most of the vampires in Paris actually think he's a Toreador. But again, they think something is wrong with him. Are you getting all this so far, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
He gets out a bit of paper and sort of, excuse me, and sort of goes through bits of paper, going through. Mikhail also travels a lot of cities of Europe, never staying places too long. There's been a rumour he uses other names in the past. Both Mikhail and Theodore have been known to associate with each other until recently. The club
Define recently.
From what we gather, until they went to Berlin, as far as I know. They went to Berlin separately, and as you know, they left separately. But the rest of the time, most people agree they seem to be inseparable. Like thieves, thick as thieves. And twice as dangerous.
Does he actually use that phrase?
Yeah. And twice as dangerous. As I said, people are not sure about either of them. There's something sinister about them, even for the jaded, what's the word? Palates of visitor or vampires? I can't think of the word. The club you're in is largely ignored by vampires, and it's regarded as a harmless occult club. But they do know that Theodore and Mikhail have used it as a haven in London. And one final thing. When we came back to the club, this place is also being watched by a pair of humans. And after a little asking around, And from the way one of them looked like a policeman. You know, they have that certain look to them, and they both laugh.
I think I saw one of them.
Any news from Berlin?
Oh, only thing we've got from Berlin is peace has broken out again. The Justicar is still there. Both princes have had their heads proverbially banged together. And Kane was a, of all things, apparently a Ravnos who had been tricked by persons unknown. It was not.
Anyone we know?
No. This is the strange thing. The only thing is the Justigars did find some Egyptian vampires, but for some reason they sort of melted away before they could do anything about them. So there is a rumour they could be Setites.
Do you think Setites were involved in the...
It wouldn't surprise me. It's a sort of sneaky little game they play. Especially was it and they sort of look at it, the interesting ank we got off someone in Berlin. I can't remember if we gave it back.
We did.
Ah.
We did, because we're nice people.
We're nice people.
They get up and off the chair. Vampires nice?
Absolutely.
Anybody who's old enough to have something like that could quite easily just erase us from existence.
True. So, as you said, we have been busy. We are going back to get back into our costumes. It does too much a long time, and these clothes are always, how you say, a bit restricting. Plus we love winding Marcus up. And they look at Marcus, who gives the usual, was it, evil remark. And they sort of leave.
Oyster are very, very weird.
They're very capable.
They're useful. Everybody assumes that because they're clowns they're idiots. They're not.
Not at all.
And I've just given you a lot of information. I assume you've taken notes of this.
Oh yeah.
If Queen Anne is a very strict Prince of London, and she's not entirely believing these rumours, those of us who came from Berlin should probably make ourselves announced as a matter of respect, otherwise you'll flip.
I assume she really knows we're here.
And remember, you're dealing with the Harpies.
I might be able to do something there.
Yes.
I'm actually a little embarrassed that Odie and Ivan beat me to that bit of information. I'm not a harpy myself, but I work for one.
And that one will be overly working at the moment. You might have.
I guess I'm. Oh, go ahead.
You might have heard the rumours about the Infernalist, but not who it was. Just that they are present.
Right.
So you know. Go on.
Oh no, I just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would sort of relay that to the group. Yeah, I heard some rumors before I was called in on this escapade, but no names were given.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So unless things have changed, and Odie and Ivan have something more specific, it sounds like just the general consensus is there are infernalists in the city, but your names are not attached to that list yet.
Well, I would expect them to be sometime soon if Theodore's done his job, which he probably has.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He basically burnt our names in Berlin of myself, Mr. Voight, and Mr. Neuveu, and basically told everybody that we're infernalists, including the Justicar. Things in Berlin, as I'm sure you've seen, we're in danger of spiralling out of control, and we had to get out of the city because there was just so much going on that we couldn't survive the Justicar after us for something we hadn't done, and we had, to be honest with you, we can't prove that Theodore's lying right now. And the reason we're after him is because, one, we want to get back at him for doing that, and two, we want to clear our names.
Hang on a second. We back up for just a... There's a Justicar after you? For other reasons?
No, just for that.
Oh, okay. Just for the infernalist thing.
Just slight
All right.
disagreement, that's all.
Okay.
Disagreement in perspectives.
Disagreement with perspectives.
Yes.
Oh, this is sounding better and better.
Yeah, I'm not seeing how that's better than infernalism. It's
The thing is that I'm pretty sure he owed us a favour.
interesting. Well, you both do know how to make friends, don't you?
Always.
I feel like this is a piece of information we should have been told before we took the job.
We made the best friends, it's great.
I mean, you could always ask for a pay rise.
Is there any other important enemies I'm going to need to know about before we continue?
Well, I would say that Carl Shrek, the Justicar, is our enemy. He's just misinformed. It's not personal. It's just that we would need to go back. He told us to stay in the city. We didn't fancy that, so we left. What we would like to do is to be able to go back to him with some form of evidence that, look, we're not infernalists. Theodore was making it up. We're terribly sorry we did a bunk. We'll be good from now on.
Right.
Honest.
Well, yeah, it sounds like the
Also,
only way
he
out.
owes us a favour, so I think if he had the evidence, he'd gloss over it.
Some favor from a Justicar is good to have. Yeah, I guess it's looking more and more like the only way out is through. Here, we need Theodore, or failing that, some ironclad proof that you're not all infernalists. But I don't see any way other than procuring Theodore's testimony at this point.
I mean, he will just lie.
Right. Well, it sounds like maybe he might be an infernalist himself and is stoking all this.
But it had crossed my mind.
Yeah, to throw suspicion off of himself. I mean, that's how witch hunts work, right? Blame your neighbor before anyone can blame you.
And did I tell you about the statue thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Extra creepy. So yes, if you want to know where he is, follow the statues. So there's no way he's letting those things go. I'm not even sure if those poor souls are dead.
I've written something in one of your channels.
I will raise my hand. So you, like without, I won't say anything, but I will just raise my hand and look at all of you.
Something you'd like to share with the class?
Not as in raise my hands, in where you kind of do it like to let you know that something's up, type thing. I'll just kind of just do that. I'll just kind of sniff.
Yes,
I won't say anything.
Oh.
Does everybody do the same?
Yeah, I start doing a 360, checking the...
You smell
Checking the
sulfur.
room.
You smell sulfur. As you're looking around the room, there seems to be a indistinct shape at one end of the library, the other opposite to yourselves. It seems to be out of focus at the moment, and seems to be getting more in focus.
Okay.
And
what is that?
And it's slowly coming towards you.
What?
Backing towards the door.
Yeah.
It comes into sharp focus. The best way of describing it, it is floating. Looks like what would be a squid, but isn't. It has many tentacles and a beak. The ends of the tentacles have, pincers on them? And the most striking thing is it has 2 yellow eyes, which look like cuttlefish. And it sort of doesn't move.
Cool.
Yeah, the knob sort of stops in the middle of the room, and all you feel is that as if its eyes are boring into that, and emanating from it is pure, utter evil that even makes you as it shudder. And then it just backs off, and as it backs off, it goes out of focus again. And it sort of goes back to the back of the room, indistinct, and then just disappears, leaving a smell of sulphur, and the door handle opens.
Right, so London doesn't seem safe anymore.
This place isn't safe, that's for sure.
So,
I think we need to leave this area. We need to find a place to hold up. We need to make sure that we're not followed.
Odie and Co come back.
I agree with the above plan. Any ideas?
Maybe a spot in the country isn't such a bad idea.
What time is it currently?
Well, after midnight.
Spot in a different country's not a bad idea at the moment.
We're going to need to get out of central London, for sure. We need to get into one of the suburbs.
At this time of night, that would be tall. This late in would be very difficult. Not without knowing where you're going.
Okay, well I'll be spending the night in my regular haven, and meet you guys back here tomorrow if you're still alive.
We're not staying here.
No. Right.
So easy to scare, even vampires went off.
I'll go and get my car. We'll get out of here.
See, I told you I'm not crazy.
We're going.
Okay.
As you walk past me, I'll go, I'm starting to think that maybe we're all crazy.
Odie and Co, was it? Join the club. And why are you so scared?
We've just had an otherworldly experience.
Yes.
Oh,
Were Odie and Ivan in the room?
no.
Oh, okay.
It was like something out of that, something out of H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
We missed it.
Can I ask Odie and Ivan to go in the room and see if they can smell sulphur?
To come back out. No. It smells perfectly
If I
nice.
go in, do I smell it?
Yes.
I'll step out the room into the corridor. Is one of the servants around?
There'll be one running around.
So, excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is Sir Henry in the building?
He is. Would you like to, talk to him?
Yes, I think so.
If you stay here, I'll bring him to you. Yeah, if you go back into the room, the smell's now gone. Right. And after a while, after about 10 minutes, Henry appears.
Sir Henry, glad you can come see. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, sir. What can I do for you?
I understand you got a country estate, is that right?
I certainly do, and you were cordially invited to it.
Yes. I'd like to take it on your offer.
Ah, very good. Very good. Certainly can. What hasn't changed your mind?
I'm interested in seeing your collection of books.
Aha. Are you sure that it's nothing else that's changed your mind? After all, it does mean that Mikhail will be there. And I believe you... Well, it would be rude not to bring him along if you didn't go along, unless you don't want him to come.
I'd prefer if he didn't.
I could have a word with him.
I'd prefer you didn't have a word with him, actually.
For some reason he isn't here tonight, but I can, head him off. He will not be happy, of course.
No, he wouldn't be happy, no. I can perhaps explain more when at your residence.
Indeed so. I will do the arrangements for tomorrow morning, as it is too late to go there tonight. And then we can have a talk about your future and why your change of mind. So yes, I can provide you with the house, and I will arrange that for you. Just be here tomorrow as early as you need to be.
Turns to the others and say, do we actually want to stay the night here, or do we want to actually go to a hotel?
I was about to suggest we've got a room.
Yeah. Hotels in London, we can just pick one.
We've got a room.
I suggest a different one.
We've got a room in the hotel we were followed to, yes.
It may be followed to, but it's still harder for them to get in, especially during the day.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think that's the plan. What we do is we go to the hotel. I'll
Yeah.
go around the room and make sure everything's shut. Make sure we put the sign out so that the cleaners don't come in the following morning.
Yeah. You think you've been followed again, but that goes without saying, because they always will follow you. And
I will go back to my usual,
yeah,
my normal haven.
Strangely,
Could we?
go on.
What if we book more than one room at the same hotel? They'll know that we're in the first one, but they won't necessarily know about the second.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a bit unusual, but they will do it. And you go to sleep. Odie and Co. Anybody who wants someone to watch them during the day, one of you can have Odie there to watch, and Ivan will watch the other.
Okay.
Because they've done all what they need to do for tonight. So yeah, you disappear to the hotel, and actually,
Wedges under the door, so
Yeah.
it won't open.
Wedges
Well-
and body over by the door.
well, it would be, was it like that if someone didn't sort of ploin you in the lobby? As in a gentleman in a coat, as in a long coat, hat, with I think he's got a cane, and flashes was it a warrant card at you?
What's hers?
A warrant card, as
Oh,
in
it's
the
just policeman, is it?
City of London police. Could I have a little word with you, ladies and gentlemen?
What's it say? It's road card.
DCI Wesley Knight, City of London Police, and I'm trying to think. What would he? I'm trying to look what his is. I think I'm trying to say what he does. Should have what division he's part of. No, it has no division on it.
Is that unusual?
It is slightly.
What was his name?
Wesley Knight.
It's a DCI Knight. Can I have a little word with you, ladies and gentlemen?
What's it? So he's a detective chief inspector then, right?
Yep. He's mortal. And my companion is waiting in the bar for you. If you do follow me, please follow me. I would like to do this quietly if that's possible. Unagreeable.
Lead the way.
He does. He sort of leads the way in, and there is another middle-aged gentleman there, sitting at a table which he goes up to, and he sits down, and he says, "This is my companion, who will remain nameless at the moment, so I've forgotten his name." Actually, have I got his name? I should have his name somewhere. I've lost my paper. Oh, this is typical of me. Oh well, I can make it up as it goes along. And he says, I gather, ladies and gentlemen, I gather you have just come from a certain club. I think it's called the Factum Illuminatus Londonius. And I have, how you say, an unofficial, was it, interest in that club?
Unofficial interest.
Of course. This conversation isn't on the record, you understand. And while we're here, I'm being very rude, but would you like a drink or anything?
We were just leaving, so a drink will be good for later. We're kind of in a rush, so
I will make this quick. Yeah, he brings out some photographs. Brings out a picture of Mr. Dunbar, Mikhail, Theodore, all outside the club, and a picture of an unknown girl outside the club. Do you know any of these people? After all, you've been in that club, and I do know you left that club.
I we know of them, yes.
What do you know of them, if you don't mind me asking? He brings out his notebook and pencil.
Why do you want to know?
Well, and he points at the picture of this. This is one, was it Miss Quatermain? She went into the club and disappeared. I am sort of looking into her disappearance on behalf of a friend. So you
What's her
understand?
name?
Ms. Theodore. Ms. Quatermain.
It's Quartermain.
She went into the club a few weeks ago and never came out.
That's a missing person, is it?
Oh yes, but unofficial, if you understand what I mean at the moment.
Why would that be unofficial?
It's a little delicate matter. As in...
Well, I do delicate really well, so you can just tell me straight.
Basically, what she is, or her connections, my bosses wouldn't like to, how you say, ask too many questions, for some reason.
As to what she is.
Or what she is connected to. They don't want to ask questions, for some reason. I would like to know why. Finding her might
You
help.
want to find her?
Yep, I certainly do.
No, why? If this isn't official, then do you have a personal reason for
I
wanting to
do.
find
I am doing this for a friend. He would like to find her.
Or maybe she's hiding from your friend.
No, I know for a fact she isn't. Others may be. So have you seen her in the club?
I mean, I'll take a look at the photo of the woman. Do I recognise her?
No, you haven't seen her.
No, I've not seen her in there. I mean, it is a gentleman's club, so typically women aren't allowed.
Indeed so. So... okay. You've seen the other gentleman there. You've seen Mr. Dunbar.
Oh, Suki will point at Mikhail and Mr. Dunbar. I think those two own the club, like, between them, but I'm not sure how it works. And the other one, she points to Theodore, he's just a bit of a git.
Thank you. Gives me a little go on. I tend to believe that you haven't seen her, but I will do. Brings out a card with a phone number on it and hands it to you, Suki. Sabrina, sorry. Hands it to you and says, if you find anything, please call. It would be greatly appreciated. He gets up.
Lady's full name?
It is DCI Wesley Knight.
No, the lady who's gone missing.
Ooh, I've got to find where that is. I think it's Lydia Quatermain. Ms. Lydia Quatermain. It would be, how you say, it would be nice for her to come back.
How long did she go missing?
Approximately 2 weeks ago. She was last seen going into the club, accompanied by Mr. Dunbar. and never seen
I mean,
since.
to be honest, if I were you, the one I would go after would be him, and Suki points at Theodore. He's got a very bad attitude towards women.
Thank you. Thank you for your help, lady and
Do be
gentleman.
very careful, he's exceptionally dangerous.
And so are most of the criminals I deal with.
Oh, this one's extra special.
Ah. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Now you.
We'll keep an eye out in case we see this person.
Thank you. And him and the gentleman gets up and they walk out.
Right, let's make a move.
You're moving somewhere else.
This was as we were leaving the club, you said, didn't you?
No, as you're in the lobby of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
I was sort of assuming I was not present for that because I had.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, you wouldn't be present for that one, no.
Yeah.
Ooh, that means we're going to have to rewrite a whole section. Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. That's not going to be a problem. I can think of that. I think we all you lot are nicely ensconced in your rooms. I think that's as good a point as any to stop. Because I think at this point I'm going to have to do a lot of work for the next one. But
Did we go off on a tangent again?
no, he took me by surprise. But they said there were so many ways you could go.
I just couldn't pass up the opportunity of dropping Theodore in it then.
What I found funny was the way you ran away from the manifestation. Oh shit, that's horrible. I thought, okay.
Let's learn more about what it is first before we confront it.
As I said, it's going to be a long time before I think you'll get to Montreal at this rate. But I don't think that's going to be half the fun.
We gotta have a training montage with the colonel.
Yeah.
Training montage.
That's if you've got to fight. That's the problem. Is he'll think you're in the club.
It's Rocky all over again, isn't it?
Alright, we'll have Eye of the Tiger going, it'll be fun.
Yeah, the time in the background will be alright, it'll be fine.
I gather you enjoyed that, gentlemen and ladies.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know where you were going to go, and I said I've got all the material together. And I'm thinking, oh, what do I do? So I thought, yeah, I think it's more fun that way, because if I'd said, oh, that's what you're going to do, force you to go along the path I wanted to go, I don't think you would have enjoyed it as much.
Yeah.
And I
When you
said,
said there was a sulphurous smell in the room, or just like a smell in the room, my first thought was Nosferatu and Obfuscate. I thought someone had snuck in.
If it was enough to get you wouldn't smell it anyway.
No.
Nosferatu?
Because of obfuscate, you won't notice it.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? I thought it was just visual.
No, it's an entirely mental effect.
yes,
this is
true.
where if at higher levels you can drive down the road with obfuscate and cars pull out of the way.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a mind. That's why Auspex can look into it. It is a mind effect. It's
That's why it kind of works on cameras, but only people who are watching it live.
yeah. Well,
Oh, okay.
anything that uses mirrors, what was it? La Sombra have the same issue. If they're on a camera and it uses mirrors, they won't be seen. And of course, it's how you
How
say
would
it.
that work with digital photography?
That's not mirrors, so they're perfectly fine. They'll get seen.
So you would be able to see them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even
you
though
won't
they're
be-
like.
See, this is the interesting. This is the interesting. Would you or wouldn't you?
That's GM discretion.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, but it's a mind effect. Again, I think at the time you wouldn't, but afterwards you would, because they're not present. So you could,
looking through a security camera, for instance.
yeah,
Yeah, you wouldn't see them at the point.
If you were, I think how it works is if you were viewing through the cameras remotely, you would still see them because
Yeah, you're not in the area effect.
yeah.
Right.
Because you're remote to it. It's it works like Arcane, as in
What if you took a photograph?
You might not notice them at the time, then when you came back to the photograph, you'd see them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Whoa!
creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you could actually, you could, you know those images you see of like you see someone and then you see someone in the background who's kind of like blurred out a little bit, like that
Right.
is like a films like haunted things. That could be the equivalent that you'd probably see from a vampire using obfuscate.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay.
And then as more and more time goes, that image might, depending, go more sharper to the point it could be noticed.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I always like Arcane because that's even more devious. Literally, I think you've met someone in Arcane at least twice. You literally can look at them and not remember them. And if they have very high Arcane, that's it. You could be following them and lose them. They just, because you literally forget they're there. Again, they could walk through a room and people will instinctively move out of the way. So they don't actually ever get run over. And for them to, talk to you, they have to make sure that you've got the attention of them. Right, I think that's the end of that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will